You are profoundly loved, deeply seen, and absolutely held. This is the whisper Jesus wants you to hear, right now, in the midst of everything you're facing. It's a message not shouted from the mountaintops, but breathed into the quiet corners of your heart, often when the world is screaming its loudest demands. This isn't some abstract theological concept. It's a living, present reality, an invitation into a deeper truth that cuts through the noise and anxiety of your everyday life. This whisper isn't just one message, but a tapestry of assurances, perfectly tailored to the unique battles you're fighting and the questions haunting your soul. For so many of us, life has become an overwhelming torrent of information, obligations, and expectations. We scroll, we compare, we strive, and in that relentless pursuit, we often find ourselves feeling utterly adrift, our own voice lost, let alone the subtle promptings of something beyond us. We're conditioned to look for grand gestures, for seismic shifts that announce divine presence. But what if the very answer you've been searching for isn't an elaborate sign, but a gentle current beneath the surface of your life, something far more intimate and persistent? Imagine a person standing by a roaring waterfall, desperately trying to hear a secret whispered by a friend, just inches away. That's often our spiritual journey. We're surrounded by the clamor of our own worries, the demands of a relentless schedule, the opinions of 1,000 voices online. How could anything as delicate as a whisper possibly penetrate such a din? Yet, it's precisely in this challenging environment that the whisper finds its power, cutting through not with volume, but with a resonance that speaks directly to the core of who you are. This whisper often begins with a quiet reassurance. You are enough, not, you will be enough when you achieve this, or you are enough if you fix that, but a radical, unconditional affirmation of your inherent worth, right here, right now, in your imperfections and struggles. It's the gentle hand on your shoulder when you're slumped in self-doubt, convinced you've failed again. It's the voice reminding you that your value isn't tied to your performance, your possessions, or anyone else's approval, but to the simple, profound fact of your existence. And what about those heavy burdens you carry, the mistakes that replay in your mind, the guilt that clings to you like a shadow? The whisper addresses this too, with a profound message of release. You are forgiven. It's not a dismissal of consequences, but an invitation to lay down the crushing weight of shame. It's the moment you feel a surge of grace, a sense of lightness in your spirit, even if you haven't yet voiced an apology or made full amends. This forgiveness isn't earned. It's a gift freely offered, paving the way for true healing and reconciliation, first with yourself, then with others. Perhaps you find yourself in a season of profound weakness, where every step feels like wading through thick mud. The whisper then becomes an infusion of strength. I am your strength. It's not a promise that the struggle will vanish, but an assurance that you won't face it alone. It's that unexpected surge of resilience, when you thought you had nothing left to give, the sudden clarity in a moment of despair, or the quiet courage to take one more breath, one more step, when everything in you wants to collapse. This strength isn't yours alone, it flows from a source that never runs dry. Then there are the moments of overwhelming confusion, when the path ahead seems to vanish, leaving you feeling utterly lost and without direction. In those times, the whisper offers clarity. I am your way. It's not a detailed map delivered all at once, but the light for the very next step. It's the inexplicable pull towards a certain conversation, the sudden insight during a quiet moment, or the unexpected opening of a door you thought was forever shut. This whisper guides you not just to a destination, but through the process of becoming, revealing purpose, even in uncertainty. What about the deep ache of loneliness? The feeling of being isolated even when surrounded by others. This whisper is a balm to that particular wound. You are never alone. It's a profound, unwavering presence that transcends physical distance. It's that sudden, unbidden sense of companionship when you're facing a daunting challenge alone, the warmth that spreads through you when you remember a kind word, or the inexplicable comfort found in solitude. This isn't just wishful thinking, it's the recognition of an eternal connection that grounds and sustains you. And in the heart of despair, when hope seems like a cruel mirage, the whisper rises with unwavering conviction. There is always hope. This isn't a superficial optimism, but a deep, abiding belief in redemption, in new beginnings, in the power of light to pierce the deepest darkness. It's the tiny spark of courage that ignites when all seems lost, the strength to imagine a different outcome, to cling to the possibility that even the most broken things can be made whole. This hope is an anchor, holding you steady in the fiercest storms. So, how do we tune into this subtle, yet profound communication? It begins with intentional stillness. In a world obsessed with doing, the whisper demands being. It requires carving out pockets of silence, not to fill them with thoughts or prayers, but simply to exist in open receptivity. It's about letting go of the need to control, to predict, to analyze, and instead, just listening. This could be in the quiet moments before dawn, during a walk in nature, or even just sitting still for 5 minutes in the middle of a busy day, consciously inviting that quiet voice. It also requires a certain posture of the heart, one of openness, even vulnerability. If we approach it with skepticism, with a hardened spirit, we create an impenetrable wall. The whisper requires trust, a willingness to believe that something greater than ourselves cares deeply and personally for our well-being. It asks us to suspend our disbelief, just for a moment, and allow ourselves to be profoundly seen and known, not for judgment, but for grace. The beauty of this whisper is its persistence. It doesn't give up. It doesn't fade away just because we missed it the first 10 times. It continues, patiently, gently, tirelessly. It will find you in your moments of deepest need, in your quietest reflections, in the unlikeliest of places. It shows up not always as words, but sometimes as an unmistakable feeling, a sudden knowing, a peaceful resolution to a long-standing question, or an inexplicable sense of calm washing over you. When you begin to truly hear and embrace these whispers, these assurances of love, forgiveness, strength, guidance, companionship, and hope, your perspective on everything shifts. The challenges don't necessarily disappear, but your capacity to meet them grows. The fear may still knock, but it no longer paralyzes. You start to move through the world not as an isolated individual fighting a lonely battle, but as someone deeply connected, profoundly supported, and eternally loved. This isn't just about feeling better. It's about living from a place of fundamental truth, allowing that truth to reshape your entire experience. So, as you go about your day, pause, even for a moment, take a breath, quiet the noise within, and simply ask, what is it, right now, that I truly need to hear? Be open to the gentlest of nudges, the softest of assurances, the most tender of invitations. Because that whisper, meant just for you, is always there, waiting to be heard, waiting to transform your understanding of who you are and whose you are. It's the constant, unwavering voice of love, reminding you that you are precious, you are capable, and you are never, ever alone.